Okay. I would like to welcome Dr. John here on one of our EdTalks. And today we are actually going to be discussing New Zealand's education strategy and why Indian students are inclinated towards New Zealand. And without much further ado, we're going to start with our first question, which is why do you think that many Indian students choose New Zealand as a very safe and a study-friendly destination?
Yeah, thanks, Barty. Great to be here and speaking to you all as well. I think this is an important one. Right at the start, you mentioned safe and friendly, and that's what it is. And I think it's the sheer size of the country. It's just 4.5 million people, which is 1 million less than people in this city, Melbourne, or in Sydney. So just the matter that fact, you can feel as there's going to be safety there, safety for the students as well. So parents can be more reassured. Because of that, just a smaller country, it's easier to get around New Zealand. So you don't have huge traffic jams, you're not waiting for things. It's very easy. And I think it's also the people as well as that, it's the culture of New Zealanders. I've been to New Zealand many times and worked through there, and they're very friendly, they're very diplomatic, they're very welcoming. I think there's a special reason for that, and they're very humble. They're very proud of what they are, and I don't see them as an outward-going community of people like other races. So I think they're very caring as well and nurturing. And the other thing is there's natural beauty everywhere as well. It's a spectacular country, both South Island and North Island. So there's a plethora of different reasons why Indian students may choose New Zealand compared to other countries, much larger countries.
Nice, that's interesting. And having said that, how do you think New Zealand's universities, the college, the institutions, they actually make sure that the international students get high quality education?
Yeah, there's no question about it. That's all really taken up with the NZQA. It's a New Zealand Qualifications Authority, so that's very important. Most countries have it, but it's a very good, strict regime in New Zealand to monitor all the courses. And out of that evolves what we call the New Zealand Qualifications Framework. So you can be guaranteed that the courses that are being offered are not second rate. So they're first rate quality because they have to go through a very disciplined process. All of the universities, there's 8 universities in New Zealand, all of those universities in New Zealand have to go a process where they have their courses accredited, re-accredited, staffing, how they're travelling, those sorts of things as well. So the NZQA is the overarching body for all these universities, and that keeps getting updated each year. A few years ago, 2011, they introduced a new set of incentive and sanctions for providers. So they're very careful about how New Zealand education projects itself as well. Just prior to
So,
there's another question about New Zealand universities. Why are they attractive to the thing I forgot to add there is about the 8 universities that are in New Zealand. Those 8 are all ranked in the top 400 in the world in QS rankings, Times Higher, and I think that's terrific. Canam has 2 partners, very large partners, AUT and University of Canterbury. University of Canterbury is ranked 261 in the world, and both of those universities are in the top 4 of the 8 universities in New Zealand. So there's quality, absolute quality there of their Canam, 2 Canam partners that are based. One's in the North Island and one's in the South Island. So that's important as well in terms of what you were saying about the qualifications framework as well. At the same time, where they're ranked. Ranking's not everything, but it does help when you know that your university is highly ranked. I think parents and students look at that.
what do you think New Zealand offers in terms of a life cycle support or the student support?
Yeah, I think that starts really offshore. It starts with agents like ourselves, as Canam particularly, and other representatives here. So it starts from when you're pre-departure, the information that the students gain. They arrive at the universities, they're off at their place, and then it's their orientation. So the orientation, not just into the university, but into Auckland or Wellington or Christchurch. So they get to see the city. They're welcomed by all the staff. The staff will then show them, well, this is the type of accommodation that's available. You could have on campus, you could have homestay, you could live with other students. So it's all of those things are very, very important. Example, the University of Canterbury, there's a terrific university I've visited many times in Christchurch, is a very important one. They do a lot of work for diversify all of the student clubs. It's extraordinary the amount of student clubs for the size of the university that are offered for not just students from India, but students everywhere to be able to mix and understand the various activities. They could be sporting clubs, cultural clubs, debating clubs, political clubs. So that's over and above the studies that are held in the classroom as well. So it really is a whole, when you say a life cycle, the information you get at the start, your arrival, they look after your arrival, your orientation, and then you're shown around the university, shown around the city. So you're helped there right at the start. And I think that's critical. And each of the universities, our partners there particularly, do have a lot of support staff that are there as well. If a university is feeling, a student from Delhi or Chandigarh is feeling homesick, for the first week or two, I'd like to go home. This is not what I thought. Well, that doesn't happen. But if it did happen, the counsellor's there to try and assist them and other students, support services, a lot of welfare services and nurturing to get to the students starting in their academic classes.
Since you mentioned that the students get to be part of various clubs once they're in the university or a college, so how do you think the career opportunities or alumni success and the pathways to residency influence students' choices?
Yeah, I think career opportunities influence more students' party than others. They find out more about the career outcome. So a student, for example, that's in India now is that they might be looking at the course, but they're actually looking further ahead. Now, what course is that going to lead to? What career outcome is that? If I do engineering at Canterbury University, electrical and mechanical, it's not just so much of just doing the course. Are there jobs there? Are there jobs? If I get PR, are there jobs in New Zealand? Are there jobs back in India? Are there jobs globally? So it's important that so many students do think about that. Some students will come to study in a university for this is the course, and then I'll decide at the end of the 3 years what my career will be. So it kind of varies, but it's always good to know that the job, we don't want to spend all this enormous amount of expense, come there, and there's no jobs in architecture or there's no jobs in engineering. So do your homework before you come in that one as well. In terms of alumni success, I think you were mentioning that. I think that's important too, Barty, in terms of the word of mouth and reputation, and that's spent. So each university, New Zealand universities, will have a lot of alumnus in India, alumnus in Singapore, alumnus in Australia, alumnus in the United, so that when you graduate, we have other candidates, from University of Canterbury, Auckland University of Technology, who've come from India, got their career outcome, they're now left, they've gone here, these are the people. So they have a lot of associations, a lot of networking, and many of those alumnus act as mentors for new students who come in. I think the mentor programs are excellent at the universities as well. And the final one, I suppose, you've got your careers, you've got alumnus, which is really built up by your reputation, is the PR. Now, not all students are going to be thinking permanent residency, but it's okay to think that. It's quite okay to think, okay, can I get permanent residency? Yes, you can after 2 further years study after the degree, but it shouldn't be everything about coming to New Zealand for the course, but it's certainly available, and many students have gone through. I've met many students who've come from India, graduated from universities in New Zealand, now enjoying life, their careers in many cities across New Zealand as well. So it's certainly more than appropriate to think about that when you come into, and they contribute to the economy as well. The graduates who come in are all contributed to the economy as employees of global companies across New Zealand.
You make it sound a very wholesome experience. It is. It sounds like.
Well, I hope it is. I know it is, but I do hope that comes across. From the.
What do you think are the key goals of the New Zealand's new international education growth strategy for the coming years, especially if we're talking about 2027 and till 2034, as they've mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that was just released early last year, and I attended a presentation from the Vice Chancellor of University of Canterbury and the Chief Executive, and they both talked about that at a recent conference. And it's facts here. It's just so important. You can go in and Google New Zealand, and you'll see the strategy there. And what they're trying to do is get the people within New Zealand to understand what the contribution is. Obviously, the economic contribution of international education, and they're planning that to go from $3.6 billion in 2024 up to 7.2 billion, double in 2030. So that's only 5 years away. So there's going to be a lot more focus on international students, the importance of international students to the society and the economy, particularly in New Zealand. They want to raise awareness globally outside New Zealand of why it's important there, from 40% then to 42% then 44%, as you said, by 2034. So they're trying to do that, and that's also reflective of the growth in student enrolments. You know, that they've got 83,000 students. It's not as large as a lot of other countries, obviously, but it's going to get a lot larger. So they're wanting almost 120,000 students by 2034 in 9 years' time. Now that's a big growth for a country the size of New Zealand, and I think it's terrific. And also then to have New Zealand as in the top 3 choices globally, which it perhaps hadn't been 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So the important thing is the government's behind this, Education New Zealand's behind this, and the universities at the most senior level are behind this. And I think it's terrific and should be emulated and congratulated for making this strategic move in New Zealand.
Yeah, it sounds terrific as well, because I mean, as you mentioned, when the government actually gets behind in any particular policy and they make sure it's implemented well, it's bound to do well.
Yes, yeah, correct. Absolutely correct.
Yeah. Thank you so much, John. This is going to be the end of the Ed Talk we had today. And it's always a delight having a conversation with you.
Okay. Pleasure. Okay. Great to talk again, Bharti.